Hello everyone! This week we're going to be looking at the music of the Romantic period. Now this is probably my favorite period of classical music, and this is because the composers wrote amazing, gorgeous music. The composers often tried to express a story or an emotion throughout the music. And because they had this desire to do so, they often broke with the forms of the classical period, because they felt that they were constrictive and restraining. And so instead, they wrote long lyrical lines with rich harmonies. They had great dynamic contrasts. They experimented with different instrumentations, different techniques. The rise of the virtuosic pieces arose with composers like Paganini and Liszt writing incredibly difficult and demanding pieces. But the first piece I'm going to be playing for you is by Sergei Rachmaninoff. Rachmaninoff was born in Russia, but then he later moved to America. And he is a truly amazing composer. He often draws from his Russian heritage, and that his Russian heritage often shows up in his music. In his music, you can often feel sometimes the cold bleakness of Russia. And the piece I'm going to be playing for you today is his Prelude, Opus 3, No. 2 in C-sharp minor. And this is one of his most popular pieces. In fact, it was so popular that Rachmaninoff himself said that he wished he hadn't written the piece because he got sick of playing it. You see, when he was performing concerts, the audiences, very regularly, they would request at the end, or rather than request, they would shout C-sharp minor, C-sharp minor, because they wanted Rachmaninoff to play his Prelude in C-sharp minor. Now, I hope you enjoy this piece as much as those audiences did. So here is Rachmaninoff's Prelude in C-sharp minor. I hope you enjoyed that prelude by Rachmaninoff. And if you want to hear more by him, I'll have a link to another recording I did of one of his pieces. It's his second piano concerto, and it's a really great work. I would definitely recommend listening to it. But speaking of piano concertos, I wanted to play Felix Mendelssohn's piano concerto for you next. And I think it really showcases well some of the aspects of the Romantic period. Not only do you have long lyrical lines and great dynamic contrasts, but it's a very flashy piece. And during the Romantic period, there was a rise of great virtuosos, like Nikolai Paganini and Franz Liszt, who wrote pieces that were very, very technically demanding, to the point that some people even said that some of their works were impossible to play. However, rather than doing those today, I'm going to be playing for you Felix Mendelssohn's Piano Concerto. And this is a piece that I had prepared for the Beaverton Symphony Orchestra concerto competition. And this recording is taken from the competition where I performed it. And if it hadn't been for COVID-19, I would be performing it with an orchestra in a couple weeks. However, since I'm not able to do that, I thought I would share this recording with you of Felix Mendelssohn's Piano Concerto. isn't that a marvelous piece by Mendelssohn? Now the next piece I'm going to be playing for you is by Saint-Saëns, and it comes from his Carnival of Animals. I mentioned earlier that composers during the Romantic period especially, they often tried to portray a story through their music. And in this case, Saint-Saëns tries to tell us of a variety of animals. Now the animal that I chose for you from his Carnival of Animals is probably the most popular one. It's the one that is most often played, and it's a swan. And so as you listen to the music, see if you can imagine a swan. Try to picture a swan in your head, and see if you can see the relationship between the music and a swan. And this arrangement of the swan by Saint-Saëns is for flute and piano. I hope you enjoy it. Now Saint-Saëns tried to tell a story of animals through that particular piece that I just played. But another style that was popular during the Romantic era was for composers to incorporate folk music into their pieces. And Edvard Grieg was a composer who did this to a great extent. Edvard Grieg was a Norwegian composer, and in much of his music, you'll find Norwegian folk songs tied into his music. And this was something that Edvard Grieg really tried to do, not only as an inspiration for his music, but also to show appreciation for the cultural heritage that he had. One of his most famous pieces is his piano concerto in A minor. And so today, my sister and I will be performing for you the second movement from his piano concerto. My sister will be playing the first part, the piano part, and I'll be playing an orchestral reduction for piano. I hope you enjoy Grieg's piano concerto in A minor. Edvard Grieg didn't output a whole lot of works, but I hope you agree with me in that the works that he did write are truly amazing. Now the next piece I'm going to be playing for you is one of my favorite violin concertos, and it is Max Bruch's first violin concerto in G minor. And this is a stunning work of art, but it did not come easily. And because you see, Bruch spent over 4 years working on this piece, and then he withdrew it after the first concert, and then he continued to revise it throughout his lifetime. Nevertheless, I think that Bruch's strive for excellence, I think that it led to an amazing piece. In the violin concerto, you have gorgeous lyrical lines, accompanied by lush, beautiful harmonies in the orchestra. So I hope you enjoy, as much as I do, Max Bruch's violin concerto in G minor. this last piece I'm going to be playing for you is by Frédéric Chopin. And Chopin was a great composer, and he wrote quite a few works for the piano. His nocturnes are quite famous. I'm sure you have heard of some of them. But he also wrote, besides nocturnes, he wrote many etudes, piano concertos, and ballades for the piano, plus many other more works. And the piece I'm going to be playing for you today is Chopin's Etude, Opus 25, number 7. And this etude is nicknamed his cello etude, because in the left hand is where we find the melody for this piece. And if you were to arrange this piece for an orchestra or for a different arrangement, you would probably give the melody to an instrument like the cello, which is why it is nicknamed the cello etude. And it really makes the piece unique, because we have this rich, deep melody accompanied by, there's two voices really, but you have the bass melody accompanied by a higher melody, and together they create a wonderful piece of work. So I hope you enjoy Chopin's Etude, Opus 25, number 7, and have a great week.